up with the squad? It's your favorite Auntie and Uncle Tendencies. Welcome back to Cess Talks Sports. Shout out to all the loyal fam tuning in again. And if you're new, welcome. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you're in the loop. And I need everybody to make sure you like, comment, and share this video so I know you pulled up. Hey, everybody needs to know we talking South Carolina Gamecock football today. We diving into something different. It's not just a quick spotlight or a highlight reaction. This is an extended deep dive. We're going to go ahead and look at three Gamecocks that can transform South Carolina's football forever. Lenore Sellers, Nick Harper, and Dylan Stewart. These three aren't just talented players. They're the kind of stars who can carry an entire program, who can make the leap from competitive to contender. And for South Carolina, a program that's always had to fight for respect in the SEC, the timing couldn't be more critical. So let's take it slow. Let's take it deep. And let's walk through their journeys, their production, their impact, and their place in the bigger SEC and college football picture. Every era of college football greatness starts with a quarterback. For South Carolina, that quarterback is none other than Lenore Sellers. Back in South Florence High School, Sellers was already a legend in the making. His senior season looked like something pulled out of a video game. He threw for just under 3,000 yards, piling up 45 touchdowns through the air while giving the ball away only 2 times. That's what I said, twice. But he didn't stop at being a polished passer. He also rushed for more than 1,300 yards and added 17 touchdowns on the ground. 62 total touchdowns, an undefeated record, a 4A state championship. That kind of season doesn't just win you games. It cements you in the lore of South Carolina high school football. The honors rolled in like clockwork. Florence Morning News named him Player of the Year. The Shrine Bowl of the Carolinas gave him offensive MVP honors. Recruiting services consistently ranked him inside the top 20 quarterbacks nationally. By the time he signed with the Gamecocks, there was no denying what he represented. A homegrown talent with the chance to change the trajectory of his hometown program. But Sellers' path wasn't about instant gratification. He sat behind Spencer Rattler in 2023, learning, absorbing, and preparing. Then in 2024, it was his turn. And he didn't just meet the moment, he owned it. That season, he threw for more than 2,500 yards, with 18 touchdowns through the air on nearly 65% completions. He added nearly 700 rushing yards and 7 scores on the ground. Altogether, over 3,000 yards of total offense delivered as a first-year starter in the toughest conference in the country. And beyond the numbers, there were the moments. Against Missouri, when the drive looked dead, he pulled off a miraculous escape, spinning, dodging, leaping to complete what's now remembered as the Superman play. Against Clemson, in one of the most physical rivalry games in the nation, he forced 18 missed tackles in one game, more than any quarterback had ever recorded in the pro football-focused college era. Names like Lamar Jackson, Johnny Manziel, Cam Newton, none of them had done it. Sellers did it as a freshman. By the end of the season, the recognition matched the performance. SEC Freshman of the Year, Freshman All-American, All SEC third team. And the scary part is that it still felt like just the beginning. Now in 2025, the spotlight is brighter than ever. He's already a preseason first-team All SEC selection. He's on the Maxwell Award and Walter Camp Player of the Year watch list. Some analysts even have him on the Heisman Trophy radar. And when Bruce Feldman released his annual freaks list, Sellers was highlighted for his physical gifts, squatting 555 pounds and hitting 22 miles per hour on GPS. That's not just a quarterback, that's a prototype. That's an NFL first rounder in waiting. But South Carolina, Sellers is the heartbeat of the offense. His ability to blend power, speed, and leadership gives the Gamecocks something they rarely had. A quarterback that scares opposing coordinators before the game even kicks off. If Sellers is the heartbeat, Nick Harper is the weapon. At Archbishop Carroll High School in Washington, D.C., Harper was already a national headline. His size and speed combination was something recruiters had only dreamed about. 6'5", 235 pounds, Olympic-level speed in 100 and 200 meters. He was named Gatorade Player of the Year for D.C. 2 times. Twice. I said it. He topped Bruce Feldman's freak list for 2 consecutive years, something no one had ever done before. And he was a consensus 5-star prospect, courted by every major program in America. Harper wasn't just a football recruit. He was an athletic unicorn. He had times to compete in the Olympic trials, but he chose football. He chose South Carolina. That decision gave the Gamecocks a player unlike anything the SEC has seen. The challenge was never about his raw gifts. It was about translating them into consistent production. And in 2024, his sophomore year, fans started to see it. Harper finished the season with 26 receptions for 376 yards and 3 touchdowns. The stat line might not scream dominance, but the story is in the arc. Over his final 5 games, he caught 15 passes for nearly 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, showing not just improvement, but a glimpse of what's coming. His chemistry with Lenore Sellers grew sharper each week, and his presence stretched defenses in ways that don't show up in the box score. Safeties had to backpedal. Corners had to play off. Linebackers couldn't cheat toward the run. Even when Harbor wasn't catching passes, he was bending the field in South Carolina's favor. Now in 2025, Harbor has made the full commitment to football. Reports say he's reached 24 miles per hour in workouts. His routes are crisper. His hands more reliable. His confidence undeniable. This is the year that potential becomes production. With Sellers delivering the ball, Harbor is poised to become one of the most feared receivers in the SEC. He's the kind of mismatch nightmare who forces defensive coordinators into impossible choices. Double him and open up the run game for Sellers. Leave him single covered and risk a deep strike over the top. There's no right answer. While Sellers and Harbor's headline the offense, Dylan Stewart gives the Gamecocks something just as important, a game-wrecking defender. Coming out of Friendship Collegiate Academy in Washington, D.C., Stewart was ranked as the #1 edge rusher in the nation in the class of 2024. He was a 5-star prospect, a terror off the edge with 16 sacks as a junior, and a selection for the Under Armour All-American game. His recruitment was national, but he chose South Carolina, a decision that immediately raised the ceiling to the Gamecock defense. And for the moment he stepped on the field, Stewart showed why. In his very first college game, he recorded 4 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and forced 2 fumbles. That wasn't just an introduction, it was a statement. By the end of his freshman season, Stewart had 23 tackles, 10.5 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks, and an incredible 34 quarterback hurries. His disruption rate was one of the highest in the country, and it didn't take long for the awards to follow. He was named to the FWAA Freshman All-American team, selected for the SEC All-Freshman team, and became a finalist for the Sean Alexander National Freshman of the Year Award. Now, heading into a sophomore season, Stewart is already being talked about as one of the best defenders in college football. He's on the Walter Camp and Bronco Nagurski watch list. Pro Football Focus ranks him among the top returning edge rushers in the nation, and his own coach, Shane Beamer, went so far as to call him the best edge rusher in the country. What sets Stewart apart is his versatility. He's not just a pass rusher. He has the size and strength to set the edge against the run, the motor to chase plays down from behind, and the instincts to sniff out screens and counters before they develop. He's the kind of player who changes game plans. Offensive coordinators have to slide protections, chip with tight ends, and sacrifice their scheme just to keep him from blowing up plays. That's the definition of an elite defender. Individually, Sellers, Harbor, and Stewart are stars. Together, they form something even more powerful. On offense, the connection between Sellers and Harbor has the potential to be one of the most explosive duos in the nation. Harbor's elite speed forces defenses to keep safeties deep. That, in turn, opens up running lanes for Sellers, who is dangerous enough to rip off big gains himself. Linebackers and spies can't commit fully because the threat of Harbor on the outside is always there. That dynamic puts defenses in a bind. Do you protect against the run or guard against the deep ball? With Sellers and Harbor, you can't do both. And then there's Stewart. His ability to create pressure, force turnovers, and generate negative plays feeds directly into the offense's success. A Stewart sack on 3rd down gets the defense off the field and hands the ball right back to Sellers and Harbor. A forced fumble creates a short field, turning into quick points. When South Carolina plays with the lead, Stewart becomes even more dangerous, able to focus on rushing the passer against offenses forced into obvious throwing situations. That's complementary football at its finest, the offense and defense feeding into each other, creating momentum swings that win games in the SEC. To appreciate what this trio means, you have to understand South Carolina history. This is a program that has always had to fight uphill in the SEC. There was the George Rogers era, when the Gamecocks had a Heisman winner in the backfield. There was the Jadeveon Clowney era, when the defense had a generational talent. There were the Spurrier years, with Connor Shaw at quarterback, Marcus Lattimore in the backfield, and Alshon Jeffrey making circus catches. Each of those moments gave South Carolina national relevance, but consistency has always been the challenge. Now in 2025, with Sellers, Harbor, and Stewart, the Gamecocks have something different. They don't just have one star, they got a nucleus. And with the college football playoff expanding, the timing couldn't be better. In the past, South Carolina would have needed to run the gauntlet perfectly to even sniff playoff contention. Now with the 12-team playoff, the Gamecocks don't need perfection. They just need to finish strong, win key matchups, and ride the momentum of their stars. Of course, football is never just about 3 players. The offensive line has to hold up, the secondary has to grow, special teams has to deliver. But when you've got a quarterback who can change games, a receiver who can stretch the field like few others in the country, and a pass rusher who terrifies offensive lines, you got the foundation of something special. The SEC is brutal. Georgia isn't going anywhere. Alabama may be in transition, but they're always dangerous. LSU, Texas, Oklahoma, the Sharks circling. But for the first time in a long time, South Carolina enters the season not just with a hope, but with real belief. Lenore Sellers, Nick Harbor, Dylan Stewart, the leader, the weapon, the destroyer. Together, they give South Carolina a chance to not just compete, but to contend. All right, fam. Make sure you drop a comment with your thoughts. Can Sellers make a Heisman run? Will Harper break out as the next elite SEC receiver? Is Stewart already the best pass rusher in college football? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and share this video with someone who loves the game. Catch y'all next time on Cess Talks Sports, where we always bring you the latest on rising stars and legends in the making. Y'all know what it is. Stay tuned. Talk soon. I'm out.